All right, and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Technology Tuesday. Greg Russell is in the house. Jerry Franklin Poe is in the house. And today we are sharing with you why things will, why, today we're going to talk about struggling, if your business is struggling, and what you should do about it. And we're going to dive deep into our own personal stories and share with you things that we know that can help you with your business. So today on Technology Tuesday, that's what we're covering. Get ready. And if you are checking us out live, hit us up, hashtag live. And if you're watching us on a replay, hashtag replay, let us know you are tuning in. With that, we're about to start right now.
Technology Tuesday. That's right, folks. Every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are here bringing you practical knowledge, practical applications. You can have practical solutions for your business. And speaking of practical solutions, Greg and I have been batting back and forth, especially with the way our conversations have been shifting in business. A lot of AI talk, AI this, AI that. And with artificial intelligence, some people forget about some of the important things because uh, AI is a great way to cover up some of the issues. Like whenever there's a new fancy thing out there, some of these new fancy tools, they actually cover up the real issues people are having in their business, issues that have been there, issues that have been persisting, issues that are blocking their success, blocking their profit, blocking their revenue, blocking their clients, their customers, blocking the business providing the lifestyle that they want. And it's always the next gadget, the next tool, the next toy, but they're ignoring the real thing that's the block. And it's always good, right, to have something new and fancy and shiny, but eventually that stuff wears off and you have to come to terms what the real issues are.
Yes, sir. Um, and I think that for, you know, many people, I think we're going through a challenging time, a transition time, a time where things are changing. And I had quite a few conversations with clients of mine about the things that they are experiencing in their business and the challenges that they're having. And so, Jerry, I wanted to have this conversation about, you know, um, consistent, personal development, because it's something that I think you brought to my attention that we are typical that I may be um, not realizing how much personal development that I've worked on myself over the years, um, which is a part of my story. So I sat down and I thought about it. I thought about why it was important. I thought about how it helped me, when it helped me, how is it still helping me, and just have a conversation about that. But I'm going to share some of the things that really helped me, and we'll dive into some of the things that helped you. Um, but before we do, we got to pay the bills. And I got something. It's funny. I was watching that show about the WWF and behind the scenes, and it's produced by Peyton Manning. And sometimes they'll do something on the show where they won't tell certain producers or certain things what's going to happen, and it's a surprise to everyone. I say that because I didn't tell you about this going in, so it'll be a surprise, but not that big of a deal. But I wanted to at least drop it like that. So anyway, I have a invite for you guys. If you guys would love to have some leads, because of my relationship with a good friend of mine, Mr. Eric Lawfome, as a guest of mine, you can come to his 3-day event where he will show you how to generate 1,000 leads in 3 days without paying for ads. So I want you guys to check this out, and you can take part of it. And so I wanted you guys to hear directly from Eric himself.
Hey, Greg, it's Eric Offhome, and I'm excited to invite your community to my Create 1,000 Leads Challenge in 3 days. It's at the end of February, February 24th through the 26th. We're going to gather for 30 minutes a day at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I built a database from scratch to over 50,000 people without running ads. And so I'm going to be sharing my best strategies. So for anybody needing more leads, come join my free challenge. And all you need to do is just click the link and you'll be signed up. And I look forward to seeing you in the Create 1,000 Leads Challenge in 3 days.
Awesome.
All right.
So yeah, man. So listen, if you guys want that link, here it is. It is gregurl.com/3day. Actually, it's 3 days with an S. Yes, it's 3 days with an S. Let's go ahead and fix that right here on screen. So it is proper. There we go. So gregurl.com/3 days, and you will learn how to generate 1,000 leads in 3 days. Absolutely free. Come as my guest. Listen to Eric share how he's going to do that for you. So again, that URL one more time is gregurl.com/3 days. Make sure you sign up and check it out.
Awesome.
Cool. All right, man. Let's get into it.
So you want to jump it off? What was your? I know you were starting off talking about your personal development journey. But one of the thoughts I had this morning, as I was preparing for some of the stuff I had to do today, is I think a lot of folks don't understand when they listen to certain people and people are talking about business strategy. I don't know if they always factor in what that person did before they got the strategy, like how much of a process struggle that person went through. Actually, I'm going through a book right now by Viktor Frankl, and I believe it's called Man's Search for Meaning, right? Yeah, like Man's Search for Meaning, like the meaning of life, right? And it's interesting. A lot of times people just think, well, if I get the strategy and if I get the tool, then I should be able to get the results, not knowing that there were some other things that went into the process for that person before they implemented the strategy, before they implemented the results, as to why they're getting the massive success they're experiencing. And what ends up happening for a lot of folks is a feeling of dissatisfaction, or um, there's an upset around the fact that they don't have the results that they want. They're disappointed, I guess you could say, because they're like, oh, this person did it. It should be working. Why is it not working for me? But they may not understand that everything that was part of that person's journey in order to get to the success. They just see the success now. It's like people think that a lot of folks are overnight successes. And it's like that overnight was a long night. It was a long night, right? It wasn't. So there's a lot that goes into the journey before things actually happen. And I one of the books that helped me understand that, John Maxwell wrote a book called Failing Forward. We don't typically talk about all of the failures a person has. We usually go back to the one success, like how many companies a person had that didn't work. We usually like, oh, this is the one that did work, and we talk about the one story, right? uh Ray Kroc, with, when they had the movie The Founder, and you got to see like, oh, there were some things that he had done that weren't really working out before he met the McDonald's brothers.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Love that movie. That's a good one. The Founder. Um, it's interesting you say that, because for me, I struggled for many years, many years, longer than most, but I kept at it. And I'll tell this brief story so you can get an idea. Um, I was at a point. This is when this personal development kicked in for me. I was at a point where I went to school to play football. Football didn't work out. I came home. I didn't graduate. not because I just didn't want I knew I wanted to work for myself. And so I came home back to New York, and so my dreams of playing in the NFL were were not working out. I kept getting hurt. After I transferred to a different college, I kept getting hurt, and so then I decided, all right, I'm just done. And I was at a point in my life where I was like, I know I want to do this business thing, so why don't I just do it? So I poured my heart and soul into that, and I was struggling and struggling and struggling. And basically, then we finally got a little bit of success, Jerry. Um, we had it took us a couple years. We invested a lot of money we really didn't have. We borrowed it, and to make a long story short, we started getting some success, and this success felt like it was well deserved because we had put everything we had into it, and it was like finally we were able to finally get some success. And then as soon as it came, um, we got notices that the companies we were working for weren't going to renew our license, and then several months later that license ran out, and we basically went from doing $30,000 a month, which was great at that time, in the 90s, to nothing within 4 months. Right? It just fizzled out very fast, just dramatic drop off. And it was that point that I was like, okay, I was part of me was ready to quit, and another part of me was um, figuring out, like, what's the problem, right? And so I didn't blame the situation. I didn't blame the company. I said, listen, this is all me. If I'm not getting the results that I want, it's my fault. So what can I do? And so it's that point in where I really started to dive into personal development. Um, and at that point, I had went through a program by Tony Robbins, Anthony Robbins, the personal power stuff. I had the course. I went through the personal power weekend, which at that time was facilitated by someone else, and Tony just showed up via video. But that was a real changing point for me in my life, as far as really diving into personal development and developing a part of me and a belief system a belief system in myself that I could not only overcome the challenges that I had, but also reach the success I had. And I think that for me is why I'm here today on Technology Tuesday with the business that I have. So it's like that is real important. And that was just the beginning. There was lots of other things I did other than the Tony Robbins stuff over time, that you have to, it's like a muscle. You have to consistently work it out, or you will lose it, right? You have to work it out or you will lose it. So um, that's kind of how I got started. And that's what really kicked it off as far as the personal development.
I think people undervalue the greatest technology they have, which is their mind. The mind is the key. And when I say the mind, I'm talking about the way you think, really, before you even think, what you believe, how you think, how you interpret your emotions, which drives your actions, which ultimately drives your results. Right? And people focus on the results, but they don't focus on the success equation. The success equation is that your beliefs plus your thoughts plus your emotions plus your actions will equal your results. And when people think about actions, they're like, well, if I just do these actions, I'm going to get these results. Well, if there are other parts in the equation that you're not looking, like if you did algebra, you did calculus, if you had these classes or basic arithmetic, if you're not factoring all the parts of the equation, because two sides of the equation got to equal each other, one side has to equal the other side. So your results are going to be equal to how you think, how you feel, as well as how you act. And your actions, whether they're long term or short term, are primarily based on your PBS, your primary belief system. And that core value belief system is something that a lot of us at this point in stage of our lives, if you're watching this, you're probably a grown adult, you have control over. But when we were younger, people were giving us stuff to believe, right? You were like, uh, believe in this, believe in that. There's a Easter bunny, there's the Santa Claus, there's somebody fed you these types of things. Like with my daughters, like they didn't know there was no Santa Claus for them. Because I'm like, man, I'm not giving some white dude credit for buying all these presents. I'm just not doing it. I'm the one buying this stuff. Why am I gonna give some dude in a red suit? I mean, I got red on myself. Let me get the credit. So parents give their children beliefs, right? But at some point, you have to examine the beliefs that you were given. Like the idea of don't talk to strangers. Some people, the reason why they struggle making phone calls, the reason why they struggle reaching out to contacts, the reason why they struggle reaching out and getting people who want to be leads or potential candidates for their business is because on a subconscious level, they're still holding on to the belief that you should not or shouldn't talk to strangers. So I know that might sound silly to some folks, but uh, the reality is a lot of people don't know how long some people struggled before the success kicked in. I mean, there was a 6.5 year period of time while I was trying to figure it out. While I was working a full-time job while I was trying to build a business part-time before things started to really click and I could walk away from the job. It was like, why isn't this stuff working? Where I had to come to terms with the man in the mirror. I had to put up a reflection and say, okay, what do I have to examine about myself in order for things to change? And there was a book I read called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. There's the book Think and Grow Rich. There's psycho-cybernetics. There's, psychology of it. There's a whole list of things. And I'm not saying this is the right book for you, because one of the things I learned from my mentor is he said, you have to go out there and get your knees scraped up to figure out what book to read for you. Like until you fall down and get into action and do some stuff, then you can figure out like what's the book, what's the thing that's going to work for you. But ultimately, the key is understanding the formula, and the formula goes back to the fact, and this is not new. This is not something that Jerry made up. This is not something Greg made up. This formula has been around for a long time before we even came to this this show. That's your belief plus
Yeah.
your thoughts plus your emotions plus your actions equal your results. I mean, that's been around for a long time. You can go Google and you'll find poems written about this types of thing. Um, and I think part of this, what sparked this conversation, is the fact that about 2 weekends ago, I guess it was, Tony Robbins was launched. He had this event that he was doing, and he made it free to the public. And it was what was it called? Rise Up or something like that. What was it called? Time to
It was
Rise Up.
time to rise. Yeah.
Yeah, Time to Rise, right? Time to Rise. And it was 3 days that they did 4 hours. Was it 4 hours a day or 3 hours a day?
3 or 4. I can't. I'm not sure.
Right. Now, so let's just pause right there for a second. How many people are willing to come to an event that's 3 to 4 hours a day, right? Like even though it's free, some people still probably wouldn't lock. Like there's people who missed it, who didn't lock in, even though like they were doing it as a free event with Tony Robbins. But going through that event, and you were watching some of it, I was watching some of it, and there were some things that I saw that were practical business solutions, but I also saw that there was a lot of need for transformation for people. There were people who are struggling and they needed some mental shifts. And for us, the reason why we were on there is like, well, Jerry, Greg, why would you guys even be on there? Because I'm always willing to learn something new. Like even people, even like there's a parable I read once that said, a wise man can learn from a fool, but a fool can learn from no one.
It's interesting
And so
because if for you and I who've invested time and money into personal development and specifically some of Tony's stuff, if you were familiar with his stuff, you already know the value of the time being spent. So for me, it was like, yo, if he's giving it away, I'm going to check it out. And if you know his stuff, he did not disappoint. The other thing that I thought what you said, Jerry, was really interesting was about, the questions you ask yourself, like, and you said it, and you said that, certain beliefs were given to you. And, for me, there was a time when I had to challenge, why do I believe, like a good question is, why do you believe that? Right. So a very simple one that I can give you an example of, I was given the belief that when you go to the store, you have to buy things on sale. Now, I don't know if it was intentionally given, but you pick up things as a child whether your parents intentionally giving it to you or not. And so for me, this little simple belief at the beginning of my marriage gave us a little friction, because my wife would just go buy stuff, and I'd be like, "Why? What are you doing? It's not on sale. You got to wait till it's on sale." and and she was looking at me like, "What are you talking about? I want this. I'm buying this, and it don't have to be on sale because I want it now." And so the I make fun of it, but I had to question, where did this come from? Why do I believe that everything I have to buy everything on sale? If I make enough money and I can afford it, do I really have to wait till it's on sale? It's something little like that, but you realize, you learn that you have these beliefs and you should challenge them. Why do you believe that? Like, why do you believe what you believe? And I remember I did this challenge with a group of young people one time, and I asked them a very simple question, like, um, you know, how much is too expensive for these glasses? What price point would these glasses be, too expensive? And I said, there's a point to this challenge. What's your number, right? And so then everybody had a number, and it came up, and then it was like, why do you believe that? Where did the belief of that particular number come from? Like, where did it come from? And I had them challenge what where their value of certain things came from, and I had to tell them, you didn't determine that. That was given to you. You could change that belief right now if you wanted to, right? But a lot of times people don't even think about where their beliefs come. They just have them because they've developed them as they experience things, and as they come up. So I think you're 100% right. We are given certain beliefs, and I think for entrepreneurs especially, it's time to challenge those beliefs, and it's time to consistently work on the things that are working behind the scenes in your subconscious that ultimately affect the results you're getting.
So what you just mentioned was something I wasn't planning to talk about today. And what you're talking about is the financial thermostat. Like, all of us, based on where we grew up and how we grew up, were given a a, a number, right, that we're comfortable making, certain money numbers, right? So we all have this like, a thermostat changes the temperature in the room. So your thermostat changes the amount of money you have in your bank account. And when you get to that number, so let's think about it like this, Greg. Like, people say, I want to make this amount of money, da 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 da. I want to make this number of figures, right? Everybody got a figure, 5, 6, 7 figures, right? And it sounds good on paper, but the reality is, based on your programming, based on what environment you grew up in, based on your primary belief system, right? You were given a certain number, a threshold, a thermostat. So what happens when the thermostat, right, with the temperature, Greg? So you're at home, you have it set at, like, let's say 70, and now it gets to 71, right? What happens? The thermostat kicks in that says, I gotta bring it down. So some people are out here in their business, and I hope everyone is watching and listening catch this. They're saying they want to have these business tools, these business systems. They want to set up these sequences, these strategies in order to get to this result. But internally, their thermostat says, that's cool, but you're set at this number. So even though you start doing stuff, I'm going to bring you back to the number that you have set as the temperature for your finances, right? Whatever that number is. So if you go below, it's going to bring you up. But once you get too high, it's going to bring you down. And a lot of people, what you're talking about, right, is like, yo, I got to buy stuff on sale, is because when we grew up in certain environments, right, with limited resources, we was clipping them coupons, and our parents went in like, yo, here's what we got the coupons for. So Rice Krispies is optional. Crispy rice is what you're going to get. And it all tastes the same. And like, it all tastes, right? That be like, it tastes the same. It's like, it doesn't even come in a box. It's just in a plastic bag. You can actually see the cereal versus it being in the box. But I wanted Snap, Crackle, and Pop. And they were like, no, we're getting the bottom, because they was on the top shelf, and the other stuff, the generic, was on the bottom shelf.
Mm.
Are you with me, Greg? You
Yes,
know what I'm
yep.
talking
I
about?
know
You know what I'm
exactly what
talking
you're
about?
talking about. I know.
right? So there were times it was like, yo, you can't get this, but you can get that because it fits within our financial thermostat. And what these things may not have been told to you. It wasn't like somebody set you down and gave you a doctrine. A lot of this stuff is caught, not taught. We pick it up by the environments that we grew up in. Like I have a hard time letting stuff go. It's like, oh, it's trash, but I'm like, I think we could repurpose that. Like we could use that plastic bag for something else. We could take that butter container and use that for something. I could do something with that. Like it's like, no, man, just throw it away. Like it's because we had to be resourceful in the certain places we grew up in, right? Now, all these things seem funny now, but factor into how the success you have within your business because the decisions you make, right? I was listening before we came on the show. I was listening to a clip with Stephen A. Smith talking about going to the King of Prussia Mall and buying a $600 pair of sneakers. Now, this is the time where he was like, he's not the Stephen A. Smith that we know now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he's working because for those who don't know, the guy that's on ESPN, he was a news reporter in Philadelphia a long, long time ago. That's how I first got introduced to the guy. So he wasn't making the type of money he was making, and he was interviewing the Sixers coach Larry Brown, and the general manager president of the Sixers was Pat Crotry, and they had like these. He was like, "Where'd you get those shoes?" And like, "Oh, King of Prussia, they were 600," and it was like, boop, 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 boop. Like it shut his brain was freaking out, like $600. Like, how can you pay that much money for shoes? And he said something in this clip that was powerful. He said, Larry Brown said to him, "That's your problem. You're making decisions based on where you are, not based on where you're going."
Yeah.
And see, a lot of times when people are making business decisions or investing in themselves, like the other day I was listening to Alex Mendosian, and he said what people will offer and what they will offer it for is a reflection of their self-esteem. So the amount of, when you were talking about the glasses and whether the glasses are worth whatever you believe they're worth. So if I say my product or services is this much, it's because I have enough confidence in what I bring to the marketplace to establish that value. Because a lot of people are doing the same service for less money because that's where their confidence is. And part of the reason their confidence is there is because they haven't invested in themselves enough to even qualify internally to say, I am this amount. I'm enough to be this amount. So you have to invest in yourself to a certain degree in order to be able to ask other people for a certain degree. And it's really not even about success, right? Because you think about sports, right? You talking about football and going to the NFL. People are given contracts based on unproven results. The person is drafted not based on what they did in the NFL, but what they did in college. The NFL is a whole nother level. They haven't even proven themselves. They haven't caught a pass yet. They have no statistics. They have no stats. They have no evidence that they can actually produce results on the next level. But yet, they're signing them for 5 years for $100 million, 200, whatever, 300, and depending on the sport, baseball, basketball, whatever, is different, but they're getting results based on future potential. And a lot of us coming into business, right? Our confidence is like, well, I've never done it before. So how could I even charge that amount? How could I even ask for this amount? Because I haven't done it before. Because your confidence isn't there to know that I can produce these results for people, even though I don't necessarily have the years of experience to show it.
And that's one of the things for people who are starting, a challenge for them. How can they make offers for things they haven't done? And that's where, again, sometimes some of the reading and some of the working on yourself, because you'll hear how others have done that and you'll see how others have done that. And then you can make a decision if where you want to set your thermostat at and where you want to price your products and services for. Because for a lot of it, it's all relative. And now more than ever, there's more competition and more challenge because of AI in the marketplace for some things. And please don't miss what we're saying here. If you need to use coupons, because right now prices of the economy here in the U.S. is pretty crazy. So if you need to use coupons, don't be ashamed.
No, don't get it twisted. I still use coupons. Don't get it twisted.
I'm using them. Yes, we use them too.
I'm still looking for a discount. Don't get me wrong. If it's buy one get one free, I'm like, yo, okay, let's do it. Like we're not hating on coupons or sales, not at all. What we're talking about though is the key that we're talking is that, and I don't want people to miss is this, because again, it goes back to the power of the mind. Just saying that you want your number to be a certain amount doesn't change the thermostat.
That's right.
Because the thermostat wasn't set in one day. And this is what Frederick Lehrman talks about in his program called Prosperity Consciousness, or T. Harv Eker talks about in The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Like, this stuff wasn't just set. You didn't just wake up one day and was like, oh, this is the amount that I'm comfortable at. And what this is, for folks who don't missing it, I'm not trying to get into psychology 101, but we're talking about cognitive dissonance. And so your brain, in order to keep you sane, has to bring you back to your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is set right now. All of us have a comfort zone. It's set. It takes time for it to be reset. And it's an uncomfortable process for it to be reset. All right, we don't have enough time on the show today. And if you want to find out more about this, reach out to me. This is the things that I coach people on, is how to reset some of these beliefs, these primary beliefs that they have, in order to get the results that they want. Because I understand self-sabotage, because I've lived it. I had to go through it before. People ask me all the time, well, Jerry, how do you get booked? Or how do you get, I see you all the time. I see you on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Instagram. You're always out. You're doing something. Well, it wasn't always like that. It's like that now, but it wasn't always like that. And I had to go through a process mentally. I had to reset my mind mentally in order for it to become. And it's a continual process. Like, I don't wake up like happy-go-lucky. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, Greg knows, like, behind the scenes, I'm not like, oh, I'm not all that. I'm not that every day. So when I wake up, I could be a little bit grumpy. Well, just like you wake up with bad breath, well, you got to brush your teeth. So I brush my mind. Like, I have to do stuff to get my mind ready for the day, to reset my mind, to come out here and live in the possibility rather than the predictability, to look for the solutions rather than the problems. So I don't want everyone to think that, we're all like these optimistic, idealistic people. Like, no, some of us are pessimists, but we've learned how to put on optimism, just like you learn how to brush your teeth, just like you learn to go to the dentist. There's things that we do mentally to set ourselves up for the success we want in our business. Why? Because one of the things that I learned is that there's some evenness in the marketplace. And this is where it gets real slick, Greg. If everybody's using the same systems, right? You can go around and it's like, what do you got? Oh, I got Entrepreneur. What do you got? GHF. If everybody's using the same stuff, then that's a neutralizer. It's not the stuff, right? It's not the stuff. And if some people have the same products, right? Well, I got certified to be a coach with International Coaches Federation, or I got NLP, and I did DISC, and so everybody got the same curriculum, right? The same service, the same product. Let's not get it twisted, folks. Okay? Let's get off the BS. Everybody's stuff is not that unique. It's the same stuff. It's the same systems, the same services.
Yes.
The only mitigating factor, the only variable is you.
That's right. So
the only variable is us. What we have going on in our mind. That's the variable. If it's the same product and the same service and the same programs, right? The same systems, then it really comes back to the individual user. And so a lot of people think, if I get the systems, if I get the services, if I get the programs, I get the products, if I get this, right? I said, oh, it must not have been this one, right? It wasn't Entreport. It wasn't Keep. It wasn't you know,
Go high level.
MailChimp. It wasn't that. Like, oh, I
AWeber.
must got to get another one, right? I got to
Yep.
get another one because this one wasn't working. But it's not the thing, because there are people using the same stuff getting results.
Jerry, you remember the latest Maverick movie, Top Gun movie, Maverick? And the dude told him, hey, he was had to go fight, and he had that old plane, and he told him it's not the plane, it's the pilot,
It's the
right? So it's
pilot.
not the tools and the things you can use. It's
So he had to prove
it's
to
you.
them,
It's how
for those
you
that
can
didn't catch
use
the
it.
movie,
Yeah.
right? He had to prove it could be done.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it can't be done, man. You can't do it with that plane. It can't be. You can't make it happen. He's like, let me go prove it to you. And then that goes back to, what's his name? I want to say Banneker, but I could be wrong. Like the guy who ran the 4-minute mile. And they thought it was like it couldn't be done, right? It was like, no one had ever done it before, so they said it was humanly impossible to run a mile
Roger Bannister.
within 4 minutes or under 4 minutes.
Roger Bannister.
Roger Bannister, right? I'm thinking
Marvel.
it's Black History Month, so I'm thinking Benjamin Banneker. It was Roger, right? So Roger, he was an English dude, right? English guy who believed that you could run a mile, and no one had done it before. And medically, they were saying it was physically impossible. The human body couldn't endure that level of pace. Like you couldn't live, right? It was like, you're gonna die if you can't run that fast physically. And he was able to figure out a way to do it. And then once he did it, what happened next, Greg? You know?
Yeah, within so many months, 6 other people did it.
Yeah, because one person did it, and everybody changed what was possible, and now everybody's doing it. Like, oh, everybody, it was like everybody doing it, everybody, because one person. Now the challenge, though, we live in a economic system where there are people who are making massive results, but everybody's not getting them because you got to believe it's possible for you.
Yeah.
And that's a big hurdle for some folks.
It is. And I think for me, I think there's 3 things that you got to get all at equal levels of working for you, right? You got to have your systems and your tools, right? Everybody loves systems and tools. You got to have those working for you, right? They got to be, if we just said, listen, a level from 0 to 10, your systems and services got to be a 10, right? That's got to be a 10. Your offer, how you present it and sell it, has to be a 10, right? And then your belief system in yourself have to be a 10. And a lot of times people will sell people on tools and systems and they'll get that to a 10. And then if they're not a 10, right? If they're a 6 or below, it doesn't matter if that tool's rocking, you will find a way to not get the results you want, just like you said with your the thermostat model. And so I think that, it's those 3 things that have to be at a level 10 for you to have the success you want in your business. And, a lot of times we don't want to look at ourselves and think, hey, am I not at a 10, right? Because as, adults with experiences, we just feel like we're not the problem. It's easy to look outside and think that something else could be the problem. But for myself, I had to learn, and it took me a long time to be like, if I'm not at a point in place where I want to be, then it's up to me to get there, and I have to figure out what's going on with me to be able to get there. And a lot of times, like you said, it's a tough hill for people to climb. They don't want to do that, especially in today's environment where you can get information so quickly, right? So back in the day when I was going through some of the personal development stuff, I didn't have a feed and YouTube and all that stuff. Like I had to just, read and listen to CDs, okay? Because podcasting wasn't developed yet, right? And, so you can't download instant information into your brain, right? And so the other day I was reading through something, and I know you could you could ask ChatGPT for the highlights, or you can even do a YouTube and get the highlights, and you don't want to watch the whole thing. But as I was going through it, there was things that AI or yeah wouldn't have picked out in the summary or a highlight that was important for me to make certain connections because of my past experiences. And so you cannot rush through, just take the highlights and think you're doing it. You have to spend the time to develop your own belief system, your own mind, and grow. And that's a challenge that growth doesn't happen just like that. It takes time. So if you're willing to put in the time, you can make changes to your business, but you have to be willing to look at yourself first and ask the tough questions. Am I not at a belief level that I need to be to have the success that I want?
Bro, well, it goes. It's a one. Number one, it's about progress, not perfection, and making progress over a period of time. Like, you want to have some type of movement forward. Like, every day is a chance to get better. What you're talking about, like, okay, we live in a time period right now where it's easier to get information than it's ever been. Right? We actually had to go out and go to get the book, go to get the tapes, right? We had to get the tapes because before there was even CDs, we had to go out and get it. And for some of us, you had to go out and get the record because they used to put the stuff on record, right? So, like, this is a time period where there wasn't a free download or a free podcast or a free something, a free book. A lot of the stuff we had to actually go out and invest in it and pay for it, invest ourselves. The other part, Greg, is when it becomes such a frame of easy access. It really goes back to what are you being prepared for? What type of battle are you being prepared for? And some people, they got easy bake oven results.
Easy bake oven. I love it.
Some people got microwave results. And some people got conventional oven results, right? There's like, what are you being built for? Like, there, Greg, you remember the time where it's like it took them all day to make the meal because they was making it from scratch, right? It was that the family, like, you was hungry for a while. Like, you were just hungry, and it was like, all right, now it's time to eat. Then it was like, oh, you could just zap it, right? It was like, oh, put it in the microwave and zap it, you know? So people are conditioned to wanting things instantly. They want to get to the
That's right.
result faster, and they are shortcutting the process. So let me go to your example about the 10 10 10, right? You were like, this has to be a 10, that has to be a 10, that has to be a 10. And I'm gonna just push back a little bit on that. When you have gone through the process, and this goes back to what you were talking about with the Top Gun Maverick, the second movie, right? The quality of the pilot, the caliber of the pilot. My systems don't have to be a 10. Right? I could have a 5 system. I could have a 7 service. But if my belief is at a 9, I'm going to produce better results than somebody who has everything else at a 10. Their belief isn't as high, right? These people were used to better planes, right? And better training than he had gotten. Like, the training that Tom Cruise got in the first Top Gun movie couldn't even compare to the type of training that these new kids, they got, like, super, like they got the, what's it, Drago type training machine. They got different, they got health things and chill down centers, and what I mean, their ability to get fit and deal with things is different, but they weren't as good of a pilot as he was because they hadn't gone through the same type of mental process. Like, they had never been in real battle. All their stuff was just simulations. They had never pushed themselves to the breaking point, right? Like, he was willing to push himself to the limit. So what I'm saying with that is, and I'm not saying that you were wrong at all. What I'm saying is that people need to understand that someone could take a broke down system, and because they're good at what they do and they have a high belief, and still get results. Like I could come in and like someone says, well, we don't got a projector and there's no PowerPoint. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's rock it. And then some people are like, oh, because there's no PowerPoint, I can't go because they're dependent upon certain things, right? So when you get your mindset right and your skill set right, the technology is just like the icing on the top. But what has happened in our worlds, we put so much emphasis on the technology that's external rather than the technology that's internal.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, man. I can see that, and I can also see like, you know, if uh if you're at a 10, the way I see it is you're not going to let your systems be stay at a 5.
Well, what I'm saying is, what I mean by that is, um, you could take over somebody's business. You could take over somebody's business that's not doing that well, and you could quickly revamp it up,
Yeah, I hear you. I
right?
hear you.
So like you're going to put like you could come in and you know it's almost like like you change the quarterback and the offense runs smoother.
Listen,
And they were
man.
like, "Well, I thought it was the
Let's not let's not
I
go.
thought
Let's
it was
not
the
start.
players."
Let's not start talking about football right now. Oh, we'll be
You
here another
know, I
hour.
know you probably like. Well, you're Giants. You could do better next year. You'll be good. Yeah, it's right now. It's hopeful for the Giants. It's
Yeah,
hopeful.
yeah, yeah.
You can only go up.
You
It
can
can
only
only go
go up.
up
Yeah, we
from
can
this
only
point,
go up. Listen, man,
right?
I didn't have the scene, but I want to thank. We got some people leaving comments. Amanda, thank you, and Cindy's in the house, and Michael's in the house as well. I'll see if I can put them up. They might not show as well as I want them to, but there we go. So yes,
Yep. I'm so grateful for the progress and the road. Yeah, and the other thing is that throws people off is comparing their journey to somebody else's.
yeah, Jerry's on
It
fire
it's
today.
it's comparing it like comparison is gonna mess you up. It's gonna what you had to go through is different than what I had to go through, and what
Hmm.
someone else is gonna have to go through. So don't be comparing what your journey to someone else's journey, because we all have an individual journey, because we've all have an individual experience.
That's right.
I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me. We had the same exact parents. We lived in the same exact house. We had the same exact cars. We had the same exact street that we lived on, but we both had two different experiences.
Ain't that the truth? Let me
Like,
tell you what's. Let me tell you some similarities. I got a brother who's 4 years younger than me, and so it's the same. It's the same thing. We had different experiences, but yeah, same house, same
yeah,
everything.
it's like it's because what they're going through and what you're going through is totally different, because we're all seeing the world differently. We're all factoring in. And I'm not going to get too scientific, because I'm going through like I've been going through some training on NLP, and looking at distortions, deletions, and all these types of things. So I don't want to get too technical, but we're all processing the world differently. And if we don't acknowledge that, then you're going to be thinking like, well, I'm not doing as good as this other person. Well, because their story is different than your story.
That's right.
Everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different journey. Everybody has a different experience. And the key is for you to run your race, but don't discount the race that you're running. And I love the tools. Like, so don't get me wrong, folks. I'm a gadget person. I love the toys. I love the stuff. I love it all. But I don't put more respect on that than the person. Like, it's only as good as the person using it,
There you go.
right? It's
There you
only
go.
as good as the operator. Like, like we used to say with when people were having computer problems, it was like, just change, like, what's the problem? Is it the software? Is it the hardware? It's like, nah, just change the person in front of the machine.
There you go.
And you
There
put
you go.
somebody else in front of it, it's like, oh, how'd you get to do that? Like, oh, because you know what buttons to press. Like, so one of the things I picked up from going through that experience with Tony is and this is the part where it goes back to investing in yourself, right? When you invest in yourself and you go to these different experiences and you get these different inputs, right? What the part that sometimes people may be missing is that there's different levels of learning. Like you can be learning something to help you grow personally, but you could also be learning something that you can use to build your business. And what I mean by that is dissecting the model that somebody else is using.
I think a
Right?
lot of people don't have the right model for what they want to do, but that's a whole nother show.
So like, you know, one of the things like when I was at the watching Tony do this event, I'm thinking about like, oh, okay, what is he building in this experience for people from a business perspective, as well as, oh, what is he talking about from a mindset perspective? And you can use that, like when you watch, when you observe, when you're looking for things and you're taking in the stuff, like, oh, I could do something like that, or if I did it, I would want to do it that way, or I would probably want to do it this way, or I would change this, or here's how I would do that, or this is how I would deliver it. And you know, it's interesting to me, uh the thing that I noticed, the biggest takeaway I got was the sense of community.
Right.
Like people want to connect with each other, and if you can create community for people, um it makes them want to not only buy into you, your products, or your services, but want to stay with you longer because they like how you made them feel within that sense of community.
I like it. I agree. That's something I picked up on as well. Man, I want to share. Were
Go
you done,
ahead.
or did you have something else you wanted to add to that?
Now go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
cool. Listen, I want to share I want to take just 3 to 4 minutes, right quick, and just share some resources that I've used over the past. Just a few books that I've and you can check them out if you want. And then we'll wrap. So one of the ones was called Life in Air by uh, Cook, Steve Cook and Sean McCloskey. And what Life in Air was about was, everybody has these financial goals. Like they want, like you said earlier, this 6-figure or a 7-figure business, but they really talk about, what you really want. If you think about it, is not a specific number. You want the life that specific number represents to you in your mind. And so you can focus on the elements of that life, so that as you're going after the certain number, you are enjoying the life that you are creating. And I think that was important for me because it let me realize the things, got real specific on the things that I wanted for my life, and able to realize, oh, I can have them, or I can get them a lot faster, sooner, um, because I'm not missing it because I'm looking at a certain number. Another one, Jerry, I know you have this one. You mentioned it, by Steve Harvecker, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. This one is great in training your mind to turn up that thermostat, um, that is set already, right? So if you want to turn up that thermostat, I highly recommend Steve Harv Ecker's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Another one that I thought was really good.
What did you say his name was?
I'm sorry?
What did you say the name of the guy was?
T. Harv Eker.
T. Harv Eker. Okay. Now you're right. I thought I heard Steve. I was like, when I hear Steve,
maybe I mispronounced
T.
it, but it's T. Harv Eker.
I was like, I thought you were saying Steve Harvey for a second. I was like, Steve Harvey. Yeah,
nah, man.
T. Harv Eker, right?
Yeah.
And did you ever go to his event? Like
I
that?
did. I did.
Yeah.
I got a picture with him. I went to his event in Vegas.
Yeah, we did it. I did it in Atlanta. I took my wife with me.
Yeah. Great event. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Another one is Slight
Edge
by Jeff Olson.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Shows you how to get an edge, get an head, without having to have a whole lot of stuff. And so I highly recommend that one. Again, these are things that help me. And Jerry, I'll drop one more. This one is by the guys we were talking about earlier, Anthony Robbins and Joseph McClendon III. And this is Personal Power, a Black Choice. And if you are of the brown skin, you may want the black choice. He does have unlimited power.
Unlimited power, yep.
Yeah. but this one has some specific references to those of the African American community that you can tie into, that I thought was very helpful for me, in understanding my power and worth. Great book that I highly recommend. So those are just 4 resources that I've used over the years that I highly recommend. If you are looking for something other than us telling you to work on it, you want some resources, there you go.
Yeah, well, first of all, anyone's watching the show and whatever platform you're on, if you jump into the comments, we'll see them and we can give you book references, book tips, or different programs, things that um we went through. I mean, I'm buying, or I should say, I'm investing in my every year. Like it's like the book. And right now you see me on camera, but like if you expand the view, like there's books everywhere. I can't turn a direction without seeing a book somewhere, without seeing a binder somewhere that got some type of content in it. Um, that I have now. Have people like, well, have you read all those books? Like, no, but I feel smarter being around them, though. I'll tell you that. But yeah, like there's a book right, just like there's a book right here, like within like I can't reach out anywhere, any direction without finding or grabbing a book. And physically, I have a book. I got Audible books with me all the time. Um, I'm listening to something to help improve my mind as much as possible. Uh, don't get it wrong. I still listen to music. I don't want people to be like, oh, you don't listen to any music, right? But the key is you have to pour into yourself in order to be able to pour into other people. So if you want to be an asset or valuable in the marketplace, you have to first become valuable yourself. And the more you increase your own personal value, the more valuable you will be to others in terms of how you can serve them and the products that you can create for them. And the books that Greg listed, they're only a testament of the fact that he keeps investing in himself like all the time. Like, so every year, the key is like, what can you learn, or how can you improve, or what can you do to get better? Tony broke it down, was like, can I constant and never ending improvement was the philosophy that he would share with people, in terms of how you get better. How the key we were talking about the other day with like the challenges we experience and how you process challenges in your business, the punches to the gut that you're going to deal with, the resilience that you have in order to keep moving forward, all goes back to the power of your mind. And that's a book itself. If you can go Google that, it's the power of the unconscious mind, the power of the subconscious mind. There's so many books around that idea of the mind and how you can train it and get it better. And I think, Greg, like both you and I got a new book, right? I think I got it right here. I got this book right here. And you just got one of these? Didn't you just get one of these?
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if everybody watching has one of these, but I know. How did you get this book?
One of the guys we had on the show is giving away the book, and if you're willing to pay for shipping, you can get the book, Alex Hormozi's latest book, Money Models, $100 million Money Models. And so I will share that with you if you guys are interested and you want the book. Again, you just pay shipping. So if you join the group, and I'll pull up the boom so you can see it here, join us at technologytuesday.com, and we'll make a post and we'll make sure everyone who wants that book can get one. Just make sure you join us at technologytuesday.com.
Yeah, so like there's a whole series. Alex that came in with a whole series. I have all 3 of them now, thanks to Ruben giving out that free book. And not to say I wouldn't have got it myself, but it's like, hey, if someone is getting it now, some people might get stuck because they're like, I thought it was free, I gotta pay for shipping. Well, the book is $30 if you go to Amazon or wherever, and yeah, Amazon's going to ship it to you for free, but you paid $30 for the book. I'd rather pay the $10 in shipping and get the book. To me, it's an upside now because I know how much information, I'm gonna be able to dissect, implement, and take to the marketplace, in order to produce better quality results. And for us, the reason, and like, if you don't catch what's happening here, what we're talking about is the reason why the journey becomes different for people after a certain point is because you are gaining knowledge. I used to call it like, so Greg, when we were in math class, they would talk about exponents,
Yes.
right? So like they were like 2 times 2 versus 2 to the second, second power, or 3 times 3 versus 3.
You're right.
So it's some people like they don't know. Some people would be like, oh, it's 2 times 2, rather than they couldn't get the whole exponents correct. It was like
Concept. Yeah.
2 to the third power, and they would think it was 2 times 3, and it's not the same, right? So when you're looking at someone's information in the book, you're cutting down on your learning curve. You're cutting down on all the mistakes that you have to go through. So it's really, I call it a compound lifetime. It's like you're adding someone else's lifetime to your lifetime, and there's not enough time in the world on this planet for us to learn everything. So if I can learn from somebody else, I can cut down on the amount of time it's going to take me to get to the same results, because they've already gotten to a certain part, and I'm like, bam, they're giving me the straight path versus me having to chop down the trees and try to create my own path. So that's one of the keys that people sometimes overlook. It's like, yeah, you can figure it out yourself. That's great. But if you can learn from someone else who's already gone down the path, you know what to watch out for, what to look out for, how to prepare, how to recognize it. And Greg, you know from your sports, it's like reading the defense. Like someone's giving you all the answers. You got the answers to the test before the test. And that's really important, because life is a cruel teacher. It would give you the test before the lesson. But if you read somebody's book, you get the answers to the test ahead of time. So I know what they
I
talked about
recognize
this.
Yeah. Yep.
I can recognize it. I can see what this is. Yeah, and that's what the development of the mind, and what we call the internal technology, right? From Technology Tuesday, so it all connects for you. It's the internal technology rather than the external technology that makes a difference. So how you communicate to others, how you position your offer, the way you can know if the copy is good copy or not, a lot of that comes back to your internal technology.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. And we are going to share one more. We'll just move it over here. It's Michael. He said, "What bar?" And he's referencing the movie. They never been in a real battle, but only in a simulation. Thank you, Michael.
Right.
Appreciate that, man. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for this conversation. It's an important conversation. I hope you guys got value. If you did, just let us know in the comments. Let us know if you were checking us out live or on the replay. And make sure you guys tune in next week for another exciting episode of Technology Tuesday, where we help you to move your business forward. So make sure, if you're not in the group, you join the group at Technology Tuesday. Until then, Jerry, thank you so much for today, and I'll talk to you next week. Take care.